All right, let's get right into this. We're talking about a dark and really powerful parable. It's the story of the Wendigo, but not just as some monster from a campfire story. No, we're going to unpack it as this chilling metaphor for a very specific kind of self-destruction, one that's fueled by this endless, all-consuming hunger. I mean, what does an image like that even mean? To really get it, we have to travel into the frozen wastes, not just of the wilderness, but of the mind. We're going to see a hunter, totally lost, starving, who makes a single choice that seals his fate forever. And you've got to understand, this isn't just a scary story. It's a really profound warning. So, this is where it all starts. Picture this. A hunter, lost in the wilderness, starving, pushed to the absolute edge. And inside him, there's this war going on. It's the healthy, normal will to live fighting against this terrifying, all-consuming appetite. And the choice he makes, it's going to completely blur the line between what it means to survive and what it means to destroy yourself. So, inside this hunter, you've got these two forces just battling it out. On one hand, you have what we could call the will to power. Now, that sounds intense, but it's really just that healthy, natural drive to, master your environment, to survive, to have a purpose. But as he gets more lost, deeper in the frozen wastes, that drive gets completely swallowed up by something else, a terrifying, destructive will to consume. And let's be clear, this isn't about needing food to live anymore. This is about an insatiable hunger that literally hollows you out from the inside. Now, to really grasp the horror of what this curse is, we have to look at something called the parable of the infinite horizon. It's the key, really. It shows us how this one choice kicks off a journey where every single step you take forward actually moves you farther away from where you want to be. Okay, so imagine a traveler. His goal, to conquer the world, to reach the horizon. But his method is, well, it's pretty out there. He believes he has to literally eat the world to do it. The earth under his feet, the trees, the mountains, everything. The idea is simple, right? If he can just consume enough to grow bigger than the landscape itself, he'll win. And you know what? For a little while, it actually seems like it's working. And man, does he gain power. Monstrous power. See, a Wendigo's body grows in proportion to what it eats. So with every mountain he consumes, he gets more and more colossal. From way up there, the world starts to look small, manageable, like something he can actually conquer. The illusion of progress, of winning, is totally complete. But here comes the twist, and it is absolutely devastating. By consuming his surroundings, he's literally erasing the world he was trying to cross. The path he needed to walk on, gone. The mountains that were his landmarks, eaten. He's become this giant, just standing alone in a void that he himself created. And this right here brings us to the absolute core of the Wendigo's trap. It's what we call a corrupted logic. It's a state where the very idea of progress, of moving forward, becomes a total illusion. Every single thing he does to solve the problem of his hunger only makes the deeper problem, his emptiness, so much worse. So this just begs the question, right? How is a cycle like this even possible? How can you get stronger, grow bigger, and yet end up more lost, further from your goal than when you first started? It doesn't seem to make sense. Well, the answer is in that idea we just mentioned, corrupted logic. Think of it like a feedback loop of pure destruction. The one action you're taking to fix the problem, in his case eating, becomes the very thing that makes the suffering endless. Every time you think you've won, every meal, it's really just another bar in the cage you're building around yourself. And that is the destructive cycle, right there in action. For the Wendigo, a meal isn't a victory. It just reinforces the hunger, makes it stronger. His power, it's not his anymore. It's just a servant to this insatiable need. Yeah, his body gets bigger, but that empty void inside him grows even faster. That old drive for survival, it's completely gone, replaced by just eternal hunger. This horrifying transformation, it wasn't an accident. This didn't just happen to the hunter. It was the result of a deliberate, horrifying choice. It was a Faustian bargain, a deal with the devil, where the price turned out to be so much higher than he ever could have imagined. In that moment of absolute desperation, trying to survive, the hunter chose the ultimate taboo, cannibalism.
The second he broke that fundamental law of what it means to be human, just to save his own skin, he sealed his fate. It was over.
So what was the consequence of that bargain? What was the price? See, he didn't trade his soul for power in the classic sense. No, it was worse. He traded his actual humanity for a permanent, bottomless void that can never, ever be filled. He traded substance for pure emptiness.
At this point, he isn't a hunter anymore. He's not even a man. He's just a tool, an instrument for his own hunger. He's a hollowed-out echo of the person he once was, kept moving only by a need that can never be satisfied. All that power he gained, it serves nothing but his own destruction.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that chilling metaphor we started with, the ladder of bones. Now, with everything we've gone through, its true meaning can finally click into place. Let's look at it one more time. The ladder of bones. Before, it might have just been a spooky, haunting image. But now we can see it for what it really is. A perfect diagnosis of a cursed life. It's about an escape that requires you to tear yourself apart, piece by piece.
And here it is, the very heart of the paradox. The act of trying to escape, the consuming, the growing. That is the very thing that's destroying you. Living as a Wendigo is like trying to build a ladder out of your own bones to get out of a pit. The higher you try to climb, the less of you is left to even stand on.
So the parable of the Wendigo, it's this ancient, profound warning. And it really leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling thought. What are our modern hungers? For wealth, maybe? For influence? For just endless growth? What paths are we consuming in the name of progress? And maybe the most important question of all, what destructive cycles in our own lives and in our society are we disguising as power?